Would you?
Okay, so we're having a lazy day. This is our Android Week with Alan Furstenberg in New York, Bruce Turner in Lynchburg, Virginia, Duke Carrico in Kingsport, Tennessee, Kadesh Kalut in Newport Beach, California, and in Menifee, California, Pam Adger, keeping us all straight. This is our Android Week. Ba-bam. Ba-bam, ba-bam. Okay, so I'm Dan McDermott. I am the leader of the group, in name only, obviously, because I really don't know what I'm doing here. Okay, so anyway, Alan, welcome, and Kadeus, welcome.
Hi.
Just a quick teaser here, because it doesn't actually run Android, but Apple had a little announcement about two phones. And I just wanted to ask, in general, did they exceed your expectations or meet them or not fulfill them, what you thought they were going to come out with? It's interesting that they're following the trend that we've seen most predominantly or most famously in Samsung phones for a larger phablet type device. They're going from a straight 4-inch iPhone to a 4.7 and then a 5.5-inch iPhone. What surprised you? What didn't? What were you like? Is that all they can do? And what was
I'll
like
be
wow?
honest.
What were the wow moments?
They completely exceeded my expectations with the iPhone 6 and 6X. 6 Plus. I was totally blown away by just how much they stole from Samsung. I
You have to
mean,
appreciate the irony.
it wasn't even close. The fact that they have now introduced for the first time in history a phone that has a tapered back so it sits comfortably in your hand. A phone that has the controls on the side instead of the top and bottom. They ripped this shit right off of a Samsung.
You know, it's so bad that actually Samsung about this topic actually, and I just saw it on YouTube today with YouTube commercials before a video, and I was shocked that they was calling them out. They was like, "Hey, you made fun of us all this time. Now look, now look, you made just what we made." And they actually referenced all the articles in from 2009 and the whole 9 yards about the phablet, and now here we are. Y'all have a phablet. So it's pretty
Yeah,
interesting.
I can tell you. I can specifically address the 6 Plus because it's exact same screen size. Now I think their bezel's less than my Note 2, but the screen size on both devices is 5.5 inches. I think it's a little too much, as I've said before. For one-handed operation. It's great if you're watching a movie or YouTube video, and just in general as we age. Kadeus, you'll experience this in 10, 20 years, but your eyes go, and first your eyes go, then your crank falls off. That's what my dad always told me. But like it's hard for one-handed operation. It's really almost impossible with a phone that big. But then it's convenient and it cuts into tablet sales. I think people who have a 6 Plus will be much less likely to buy an iPad Mini than the legacy like 5S folks. And Craig Shipp, our resident troll in Google Plus Week, says he's not going to get either of these. He's probably going to wait a year and see what the 6S is like.
Yeah, but remember, the reason why he's not going to get this is because he won't be able to stand it on edge like he can stand up his 5S.
Isn't that one $3 case away from being solved, that issue? One of those
Well,
triangle
no,
cases.
it would be at least a $15 case because this is an iPhone.
And this is a guy with an $8,000 Rolex who can't buy a $8, $15 thing. Okay.
I don't know. Otherwise, it's fine. It's a phone. It's got
On
a
it-
couple of clever aspects to it, but whatever.
He'll probably make enough money on his video trolling the new iPhone to buy an iPhone. He did one last night or yesterday after Miss America was chosen. He was joking. He said, "Yeah, I went on Google. I did some search. I did like a 10-minute video, and it was like at 1,500 views in like 12 hours." Basically, reading the Wikipedia article. Good for him. Okay, so that happened. All right, so now our actual Android topics, because as Alan pointed out to me, the iPhone does not actually run Android. This is like Colbert's, other countries' presidents of the United States. So the Android One, we saw a big announcement from Sundar, the new Android head, and he was discussing. I guess they're making a big push into India. So tell us what Android One means, what it is, and what your thoughts are. Is this obviously anything you're launching in Asia is a big deal because you're talking 1.1 billion people in India. You're talking 180 million or whatever it was last time I checked in Pakistan, which used to be part of India. You got another, I don't know how many million, 60 million in Bangladesh, et cetera, et cetera. 1.3 billion in China. So this is a big market, and it's emerging, and they got money all of a sudden. So what's the deal here, Alan?
So the deal here is something that was announced back at I/O, was what they were calling the Android One program, which was Google partnering with a number of device manufacturers and cell networks to get Google certified, Google approved, and therefore part of the Play Store devices into a much broader range of places. And their first target was in India. And we saw that announcement today with three phones being introduced in the Android One program, the cheapest of which comes in at about $100. They're going to be paired with some data plans which allow free access to Google Play servers, so people will be able to access the content on Google Play free of charge. The phones are very specifically catered to the Indian market, so they've got some features that we wouldn't, that Americans would probably look confused about, like dual SIM chip ports, which is extremely common elsewhere, but unheard of here. I also thought it was interesting that it has space for an SD card, which Google's been shying away from on the U.S. side, so that was kind of interesting.
Can you explain the reason you'd want two SIM chips overseas and why that's not practical or relevant here?
To be honest, I don't know. Cadeus, maybe you can explain this one better than I can. I've got a guess, but I've not researched it myself.
Generally, people who like to travel is one use case for the dual SIM. So then that way you can have a plan in Japan and you can have a plan in the States and not have to do anything. Some people use it for multiple numbers. They may have a business number and a personal number, and so if it's one of the phones that have the active dual SIM, then both of those lines are active and ready to go. Essentially, those would be the only two real use cases, I would think. Or if you had a one carrier in the States, we could use it like if you liked AT&T's internet plan, but you liked T-Mobile's voice features better, then you could do all your voice calls on one side, and then you could do your data calls on the other, data sessions on the other side. So you can do that simultaneously on the same phone.
What I imagined was that this is for places that don't have a lot of overlapping cell coverage, but do have a wide enough cell coverage. So to make sure you don't get hit with roaming charges just because you traveled 10 miles. And
that also is another good use case that I didn't even think of.
If we have a viewer who's aware of this, it'd be interesting if you could comment like how that works. Is it when you boot the phone, like do you have to reboot the phone and choose a SIM chip, like you'd have to choose a hard drive? Or is it smart and it realizes if you're within, Vodafone or whatever versus some other telco, it would know like to make the call on that if that's the closest tower? I mean, is it on the fly decision making, or I don't know how that works?
Well, there's two types. There's an active, and then there is, I forget what the other one is, but basically it chooses one over the other. And so if you have the active, they both run at the same time. There's two radios. They're both hammering the battery. If you have the one where it's picking and choosing, you can set rules and parameters. So you could say only use this SIM chip when other said chip is not using blank. Like you can set rules in the whole 9 yards on how you want it to work. Only use this chip for data. Use this chip for voice. Use this if you find these sets of tower or services available. Use this one if not. So that's how that would work. And you don't have to reboot. It's all right there in the settings. I've seen a few of those. I actually want to get one.
We agree that. In Sindar's post, he noted that in some of these countries, the average pay is $200 a month. So we agree that Android has a huge advantage over Apple in these emerging markets. And I don't think there wasn't a 6C announced. Do we expect one of those? Or do we expect
No,
the 5C
because right
to
now the
exist until
5C is still the low-end model.
So we think that when the 6S comes out, they'll probably announce a 6C. Maybe 3 phones, right? A 6C, a 6 S, and a 6 Plus S, maybe.
Something
In a
like
year,
that,
something
probably.
like that. But clearly, I think Android has an advantage in these emerging markets based purely on price point.
Well, Android has the advantage in these markets right now. I mean, by far, you can buy an iPhone. You know, we joked about how the iPhone doesn't run Android. Well, in China and India, the iPhone does run Android. You go into any of the stores there and you buy a phone and it's labeled iPhone, but it's not one. It's an Android phone, and it's not using Google's Play services. What this is really just a push is Google saying, we acknowledge this issue, and to get people inside our ecosystem, let's give them what they're already used to, and that's Android, but give it to them with our name on it. You know, so this attempt to do it is it isn't so much an attempt to get a low price phone out there, it's an attempt to get a low price Google phone out there.
Okay.
And it sounds like it's a hit. I mean, from some of the reports that I heard on the BBC today, the stores in India that are selling this are mobbed. It's got a massive amount of demand.
Excellent. I think about half of my followers are Indians, so I'm excited they'll all be getting Android One phones.
What I'm most disappointed about is that I can't buy one.
Can't you go to an Indian site?
Well, that's like somebody buying, you know, one of the U.S. only phones. Yes, you probably could, but you know, it's convoluting. You jump through hoops to do so.
We can.
Well, you
I'm
go
sure
to India and get
Sri
one,
could
couldn't
hook
you,
you up.
Bob?
Couldn't Sri hook us up? He's an actual real Indian. I mean, he eats curry and stuff. He's got buddies. I mean, no, because I talked to him. He actually knows people in India.
Dan, you want to go to the next subject before you put your foot too much further in your mouth?
We're brought to you by Don Imus tonight. And any NFL player you care to name. Okay, so next up is K&A review the Moto 360. So I guess this is a Cadeas topic, right? Because Cadeas, you have a Moto 360, and you have criticized.
What do I look like? Chopped liver?
Oh, you got one. Did you get yours?
Dan, where you been at?
I told you we're having lazy day.
Oh, man.
I've been covering crazy. I'm under attack by a religious extremist group, so I need you just.
Why is yours red, Alan? What's on your screen right now?
Y'all need to cut me some slack.
That's my
Bottom
Google
line.
Plus notification at the moment.
Oh, it's okay.
I loved on Google Plus Week they were dissing the one guy was Kevin was dissing the Apple phone, and he said it's like you know that thing from the mall, the Dippin' Dots. Oh my God, that was awesome. Okay, so tell me now that you've had some real life experience, both of you guys, with the 360, Alan, specifically because we've heard from Cadeas on this because he had one before you did. That was a dig just then. I don't know if you caught that. And so tell us about the K&A review.
So I know, Cadeas, what are your thoughts on it so far?
I love the watch. I swear by it. I don't see them doing any wrong on this watch. I think everything was done correctly, and I can't even think of anything to change. Everything that I can think of that needs to be changed relates to Android Wear and not the watch itself.
So you think the Moto 340 is a great watch?
I'm sorry. Repeat that. I don't have a 340. Repeat
Sure
that.
you
do. Okay. Even with that little box at the bottom, it's not that bad. And I don't know why y'all try to make this watch out to be worse than what it is. The little box ain't bothering nobody. I don't even know it's there half the time. So no, the Moto 360.
The 340.
20% of it goes to the 20 degrees of it goes to the little box. And I like that. I gotta have my little ambient light sensor. So
I
yeah.
swear to God, like 45 seconds ago, it finally dawned on me what K&A meant. Cadeas and Alan. I swear to God. Okay, so
What, do you have some negative criticisms of this? I mean, it charges key.
I think
It's
you want it, my absolute favorite thing about this watch so far is the charger,
perfect.
and it's not just because I've
the
had
way it charges.
well, no, it is the charger, the charger itself.
Okay.
That's
The
the
fact that
highlight
it's
of the
not flat.
Android Wear experience.
Well, I like the Android Wear experience, but it's vastly inferior compared to Glass. The fact that it charges on an angle and that it leaves the display lit while it charges gives me this great clock that's just sitting there. You know, so it has an incredibly practical function while it's charging. So I don't, you know, it's not a waste of my desktop space. It's actually doing something while it charges, and that's good. I like that.
So you like the watch not being used as a watch?
Well, I like the watch as a watch too.
Okay.
I mean, it's okay for that.
What do you mean it's okay?
It's okay.
What's wrong with it? What
It's
would
a
you
little
change?
slow when I bring my, it's a little slow when I bring my wrist up when it goes to do something. It's, just that one beat behind. And usually it's not a big deal. But, I'll get a notification. I'll hear the chime on my phone. I'll feel the vibration on my wrist. I'll go pick it up. There'll be a pause while it waits to do something. Then the display will light up, and then the notification comes in. So it's a couple of beats in between when I feel the haptic vibration telling me I've got a notification, and I actually get to see it.
Question: When you get like when I get a Google Voice call, all my shit rings at the same time, right? Or pretty, like one thing will ring, then the other thing will ring. So
Right.
if I were to email you, for example, or some sort of notification that you would get on Glass and on your watch and on your phone, in what order do they come and how far apart?
Usually it depends. I will
There's a lot of
either
variables.
get. Well, go today. What?
I said there's a lot of variables with that.
Yeah, I will either get my phone notification or Glass notification first. But it depends. It's almost always random which one I get first.
Right, and it depends on your internet connection. Or some of your devices are on Wi-Fi, some are on cellular.
Well, at the moment, yeah. But it's interesting. Even when they're all on cellular, when they're all funneling through my phone, the order varies.
It does, yeah.
I would guess the phone would always be first because I would think because
You would think
the others
wrong.
are tied to the phone.
No, not
No,
everything. Tied to the
It's
phone.
tied to it, but it works independently of it. Usually, then the watch would come in very short order after the phone does, and then usually a couple of seconds later, my desktop will respond.
Now you're both a unique case because you both have Glass. So if you're wearing Glass, is there anything that watch does that you would need it or prefer that functionality over Glass, or is Glass superior in every way?
It's more relating to which one's easier to do what you're trying to do. So it's based, at least in my experience, it's based on if I want to set a timer because I'm cooking, it's more prone for me to say that to the watch than it is to say that to Glass. Whereas if I am trying to send a Hangout message, it's much easier for me to do that through Glass than it is to do it through Wear.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I find Wear's voice inputs actually, what's the best way to describe this? Suck.
Well, the Moto 360 isn't that bad, actually. I think it's an improvement from the LG GG.
No, both of them are bad. Both of them are horrible. And the biggest reason is because Glass is able to do some of the voice processing itself, while the watch delegates everything back to the cloud. Glass, you can at least do some voice commands if you don't have a network connection.
Right.
With the watch, if you don't have a network connection, you're screwed, pal. Even for very simple voice commands. I'll agree with you, though, in general. Usually what I find is that for things like using the watch is really good as a remote control. Whereas glass, don't even bother.
So you've been using your watch as a remote control?
Of course.
Oh, that's interesting to hear.
Works great for my Chromecast.
Oh boy.
Works far less than great
On another topic.
on our next topic.
Okay, so
So Dan, are you getting this Moto 360?
um,
He's distracted by donuts again.
no,
or
I'm looking
by
at this.
hula hoop.
It appears to be. Okay, I swear to God, I just saw this on Twitter. This is totally random. Arkansas woman notifies local authorities of dead tiger. She called 911. She said she was afraid to approach it. The cops come out there. It was a stuffed animal. Oh my God, that is hilarious. Okay, so anyway, that's not entirely the Android approach here is that this TV station has a mobile app, so go KOAT. All right, so I don't know, man. I'm not as stoked about the thing. I'm just gonna put the dead tiger up again because I think it's pretty cool. I'm not as stoked about the Moto 360 as I was.
Why not?
I don't know. I was all excited.
Guy. And he listens to the news as opposed to testing it out himself.
No, I may get it.
I don't know. Let me put it this way. I'm glad I have it. I'm still not sure whether I'll go with it versus the LG.
Is that the GG or the GR?
The GWG.
Okay.
The GG.
So you're not interested in the GR at all?
Well, I'll see it when it comes out and see what its price point is, but considering I paid nothing for the GG and the
LG.
340, I'm not really inclined to pay for one.
A note to budding composers of like techno music. Someone needs to do some sort of troll video about the LG GG. So I could see that becoming a thing.
I don't know. To be honest, Cadeus, I'm not. If I hadn't gotten one, I'm not sure I would get one, because glass does most of what I want better. And I use one and I wear one to get familiar with it, to get familiar with the technology, and because I have it. If I didn't, I'm not sure I'd get one now. That said, I understand why people wouldn't get glass, because it's even more ridiculously expensive.
I agree with you there.
Even though it's a vastly superior product.
But it looks like that.
Yeah, well, you look like that, and we talk to you every week, so.
Only to troll me. Okay, so next up. Tango has been reviewed by the FCC. Tell us what Tango is and whatever else you want to say. Not the dance.
Tango.
This is the technical thing.
Tango, for those of you who may remember back at I/O and before, is kind of their package for the next generation sensors. So what's been reviewed by the FCC is apparently the Tango 1, or whatever they ended up calling it, which is a tablet-like device that contains incredibly precise position sensors, imaging sensors to detect location, and other nifty stuff. And this is going to be available for $1,024 to people who have signed up for it. So these are the Tango Explorers coming up.
I'm sure you two will be first in line.
I put my name down, but I'm not sure I'm that interested in one.
Maybe they have a giant brooch version you can wear on your lapel.
Brooch.
To match your glass.
I've actually talked to somebody. I had a write-up about this last month. A company that is making a brooch device that has a microphone in it, and a speaker, and it does a lot of the things that glass does, except without the camera. Think of a Star Trek communicator, and that's what these guys have designed. Tango, however, it's some interesting stuff, and I think there's some really, really cool potential for these sensors that are really going to be taking, taking wearable sensors kind of to the next generation. Because I think they've got a lot of interesting stuff to it. When, not if, but when they embed these sensors into glass and everyday phones and devices, it'll be really cool. I'm not sure I've got enough justification to play with it at this point, though. But maybe.
What is the problem, Dan?
I guess I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to share this Tiger post while you guys are talking about the shit I don't understand.
God. Oh my
and,
God.
I'm trying to figure out what to say. Okay, so anyway. All right.
Are you gonna get a Tango, Dan?
Yeah, I don't even know, man. For real. I have no idea. I don't think so. You gonna give me an invite like you did for glass?
I'll work on it.
All right. Okay, so I totally understand that topic. Next up is, what's with the K&A thing? Is that a new thing? You guys like branching out? Are you going to be like Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs and bust away from Dan, Bill Monroe, McDermott and do your own thing?
I have no idea what you're talking about, Dan.
Oh, that's called I was too freaking lazy to type out our names. You'll also notice I didn't put any links in here.
Yeah,
You're
we're having a
lucky I
lazy
didn't put
day.
any show notes in at all, except that I didn't want the fiasco that we had last week.
Okay, so Cadeas and Alan are going to ramble some more about Android TV. I have absolutely no interest in that product. So you two who
You'll have interest when you buy your next TV. You won't have a choice.
Well, I mean, that's fine as long as it's 4K. I'm not going to buy another TV until 4K's.
4K? Man, 4K is so freaking passe. You realize that, don't you, Dan? Nobody cares about 4K anymore.
What do we care about?
5K.
So why not 6 or 8 or 10 or whatever?
I don't know, because the freaking technologists are idiots. And the consumers are sheep.
There was an 8K TV at CES this past year.
No, seriously, 5K is the big thing that everyone's talking about when it comes to monitors these days.
But at some point, well, I guess it's different now, because in the past it was always what they would set. They would have to make a decision so that all the TV stations would broadcast in the standard, and then all the TV sets would be sold in that standard. But it's different now. Like you could have Amazon Prime and offering 4 or 5K, and dumbing it down to 2K or 1080p or even SD, and then you could have broadcast is becoming more and more irrelevant. So I don't know if there's necessarily a need for there to be a set standard that everyone uses, like there used to be, right? Because we're getting our content delivered in different ways. If that makes any sense. I think you could have competing 5K, 8K, 4K TVs, whereas before they had to settle, it was like Sony or Beta or VHS. It was what specs are we going to use for we settled on 1920 by 1080, and the Brits used PAL and stuff.
And if that was even vaguely a concern, I guess somebody would be concerned, but it's a standard already.
Right, but I'm saying now there's not necessarily, there doesn't have to be a standard. There doesn't have to be a standard way to go. You can do whatever you want as long as one or more providers of content will shoot it out in that format. You could have all sorts of TVs available for sale. What about cinematic 4K? Because cinematic 4K is a little bit wider. I'm just saying.
Well, then just know that Android TV supports 4K, so that's one thing that it's got going for it.
Amazing! It actually supports something. That's good to know.
Yeah, we're moving forward. Google is not the same Google as it used to be back in the day, Alan.
Back in the day.
Wait. Did you just say the Android TV is moving forward?
Yeah.
You want it to suck more than it does now?
How does it suck now, Alan? How does it suck?
The keyboard. The keyboard is an abomination. The home screen is a fiasco.
Wait. The keyboard.
The entire user experience dates from 2005.
Okay, the keyboard is just a glitch that will be sorted out. In the meantime, just use your voice. That's all.
No.
Why
You
not?
cannot use your voice to enter your network password.
Oh, that is true. So you can, but wait.
You cannot use your voice.
Ethernet. Why are you trying to enter a network password before you got the stuff set up? Use an Ethernet cable.
You cannot use your voice to enter your Netflix account.
But by then the keyboard's working fine. There's only some.
No, it's not working fine.
Listen, Plex is the
It's
only
working
app.
like crap is what it's working like.
No, Plex is the only app that has an issue. That at least on
No,
my
Netflix
box.
has an issue too.
Netflix. Okay, Charlie set that up.
Everything
I
has an
wasn't a
issue.
fan of that.
The keyboard is a freaking Charlie Foxtrot.
Well, they're
It's
working
a
on that.
fiasco.
They're working on that. It's a pre-production release. That's something that can easily be fixed after you get through screaming at them about it. And I
No,
keep-
you want to know? Here's the problem, though. Here's my big concern about it. You say it can easily be fixed, and you're probably right. The problem is, it was already fixed. It wasn't broken. The Chromecast way of doing this actually worked remarkably well.
The Chromecast version is already in there, though, even though we're calling it Google Cast now.
Well,
So that iteration is still sitting inside the box.
No. Here's the thing. Chromecast is part of it. And I'll agree with that. And I will assume that it will someday work even though it's not working on my model right now. But I'll assume that it works. My point isn't that Chromecast is built into it. Because if that was true, I mean, if that was the only good thing about Android TV, I'd go get myself a Chromecast. My point is that the model, the UX model that Android TV has adopted did not take important design considerations from the Chromecast design. So, for example,
yeah,
setting up an Android TV requires me to do a bunch of things using a keyboard that's shown on screen. Setting up a Chromecast requires me to use an iPhone, an Android device, or a laptop, or some other computer. Doing that makes for a much smoother configuration experience
I agree with that.
than the freaking fiasco I had to go through to set up the goddamn thing.
And what's funny, we had a different experience setting it up only because I'm an anti-Wi-Fi person. So I have Ethernet ran everywhere. So I plugged it in and turned it on, and I was in. I put in my Google account, and I was in. So it's a different experience.
But listen to you. I just put in my Google account, and I didn't have to put in my Google account on the Chromecast.
Right, but the Chromecast isn't linked to any account necessarily. The Chromecast is taking.
It is. Well, no.
Chromecast is pulling stuff from anyone's device. If I come to your house, I don't.
That's a valid point.
So that's the difference.
Well, two things. One, that's a valid point. Two, that's actually a flaw in the Android TV experience.
Why is that? Why would you consider that a flaw?
Okay, you're watching your favorite movie on your Android TV in your living room, right?
Right.
You turn it off, you're done for the day, you leave. Charlie comes in, turns it on. How does he get all of his settings?
Interesting.
Okay, and
So that would imply that under your perfect world, which I'm starting to agree with, because actually this was something that I was thinking. I was like, Charlie's using the TV now, but he has all my YouTube history, and so if he starts watching YouTube, then I wanted to remember video 17. Now I'm looking at 200 videos when I wanted to pick up in the next room tomorrow on video 17. So then, essentially, you would say, would you say that the person would need to connect their phone in order to I guess using the phone as a remote to tell the TV that this is the profile that needs to be used?
I don't know. There are a dozen ways that they can and should be dealing with this, and they're not dealing with any of them. Because there are scenarios where a family is sitting there and you want to watch the family profile, but have it controlled from a parent's control device. Or have the same family profile controlled by a kid's control device. There are a lot of scenarios there, and I think they need to be explored, they need to be discussed, they need to be looked at, and right now Android TV does none of them.
So Android TV needs to be more or less like Android Wear in the sense of it's not storing things locally and just linking back to one individual. It needs to be based upon what it's connected to.
Not necessarily. And I think this goes back to the home screen experience that we see. In a sense, in fact, if Android Wear is tied very narrowly to a specific account, and an Android phone or tablet device can take on multiple user profiles, maybe Android TV needs to be even broader and say that it has all of the user profiles. So that if I sit down to an Android TV, I will see my my shows. And somebody else, if they sat down to somebody else in the household, if they sat down to an Android TV, they would also see my preferences, but they would also see theirs. Or maybe not. I don't necessarily think it should be. It needs to be tied to whatever device is in proximity, although that's an interesting approach, and I might like that. But those are the sorts of things that need to be addressed. And right now they're not. And I think some of that comes through on the home screen, because right now the home screen is incredibly crowded with a very few number of things and no easy way to deal with profiles. I don't necessarily think that the Netflix approach of profiles is a good one. You know, and that's when you click on the Netflix program or Netflix app. Yeah, it lets you pick which profile you want.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a good solution. So because that's... And the biggest reason why not is because that's not... You know, when you go and you want to watch a movie, you want to watch the damn movie! You don't want to click 20 times.
Okay, let me do some comments real quick from Kevin. Kevin, if I'm unable to send a message to anybody because my Hangout thing is all kludgy. It took 15 minutes for me to get it to where I could invite these guys. If you want in, I think I failed to invite you, which I was supposed to have done. But if you want in, do a private message to Alan or Cadeas, and they'll invite you. I don't want to spam you with an invite if you don't want it, but let them know, and they'll get you in here real quick for the end. But we got some comments here from Kevin, and he says he was having an issue. He was talking about the Z Ultra Hangouts incompatibility there, and he says he got some responses, and he mentioned Chu, who's the vice president and the Seattle and Kirkland lead, and he said that he got a personal response from him, and I don't doubt that at all. He's very responsive. He's very good. Vic was as well, and so that's a good thing. Sony, he says, Moto 360, every time I look at the black crescent at the bottom of that round display, I feel like a needle is being slowly pricked into my eye. It is that bad.
Tell Kevin that I need him to see that in person first, and not what you see on the thing, because it's not as bad as it is looked. Regardless of what Alan says on this one, Alan's wrong.
The black crescent or the needle in the eye? Which do you want to see in person?
All of them.
Moto 360 impression, real talk. If they could get a 3D hologram to appear from it showing a princess saying, "Obi-Wan, you're my only hope," it would sell 5 million copies tomorrow. We're in the baby step phases of figuring out which devices should ring if you get a notification. If I was wearing Google Glass, Moto 360, Android phone, and all they tell me I got an email all at once, I would have to rage quit my Android life. They've got to figure out how to limit notifications. That's what I told Chi when they announced the thing with the box, the Obi box, that you can put a landline or cordless phone, conventional landline style cordless phone with Google Voice. I was like, okay, this is great. Now another thing is going to ring every time I get a call, and I immediately ordered one. And Kevin says, I want 4K everything so I can complain I don't have 8K. And the best TV set-top box is a dumb device where anyone's mobile device can control it and tell it what you want, not what the last person who watched wants. Yeah, that's one problem I had.
That's called a Chromecast.
Yeah, that's what Alan was saying, and you made me.
Well, no, I'm saying there's good reason to have and let's avoid talking about set-top boxes, because
Right,
Android
it's not a
TV's goal is to live in the TV.
Yeah, it's not a set-top box.
So let's not think of it that way. I think having one that's smart, it would be good, but it really does need to be smart. The current model, it misfires on so many fronts.
And you're right, because these are some things I've thought of just dealing with me and Charlie. And I remember a lot of times I'll rent a movie, but I won't watch it for 6 or 7 days. And so when I rented the movie, it put it front and center on the TV. And I just happened to come home, and Charlie was like, "I'm getting ready to watch Divergence," and I was like, "You better not watch that before," because you only get 24 hours. And he watches it, and I come back 2 weeks later and go, "Let me watch this movie before my time runs out." And he done already watched it, and I got to re-rent it again. So I had to threaten him, "Don't watch that movie." so that's that was one of the things. I was like, so I don't have a way to stop people from doing that if they have access to the TV. Hey, this movie's front and center. I just rented it, and it's like, hey, watch me. It's
right.
already paid for.
But on the other hand, if you're renting a movie for your kids, you want them to see it and watch it as many times within the access period that you have. So you can't just say, oh, the person who buys it is the one that controls it. It's complicated.
This is a problem. I mean, I had a neighbor, one of my redneck neighbors came by, my driver's kid, and he's into slasher stuff, and he doesn't have internet, so he came over and he was watching these. He literally spent like 3 hours on my computer watching different animals getting slaughtered on YouTube. How do they kill a cow? How do they kill a pig? One after another. And you talk about screwing somebody's queue up. It was like the ISIS channel on my suggested videos. It's just insane. And I was like, oh my God. I had to walk away. I mean, I was like, what the hell are you watching? It's like, yeah, this is where your meat comes from. And I like to pretend that it's in rectangles on styrofoam trays. It just happened. They grow it in labs. I don't want to think about that. I'm pro hunting and stuff. I personally don't want to go out there and, gut some animal to get my meat. I want it in a rectangle in a nice, clean environment, with music playing in the grocery store. But yeah, that can mess you up. And they have the different accounts now, but with two-step authentication, that could be a pain in the ass. Alan, sorry.
No, it's okay. Yeah, I mean it's a complicated issue, and I'm not going to pretend that I've got a solution. I've got an easy solution for it, but I'm not going to pretend that they do right now either.
Well, it's a balancing act because, like I mentioned, two-step authentication. We're hearing all these stories about Lowe's and Target and Home Depot being hacked into, and so now we're like, oh, we better get two-step authentication and stuff, and Joe Sixpack's thinking that. But at the same time, they want to make it really easy to have multiple accounts on various devices. And then you can do that, and you can set up, this is a trusted device, but not if I'm at an internet cafe. But when you do that, it's kludgy. And if you've ever had to activate another device, because you don't do this every week, so you forget, the message is wrong. It says, what's your Gmail username and password? And you type that in. It says it's not recognized. And then you have to go to this website, and you have to do a Google search to find the freaking thing to figure out where to go with that set. It's kludgy. Dan, it's totally kludgy.
Dan, remember also, though, that we're increasingly getting towards a stage where you're going to have your phone doing things like unlocking your Chrome OS device. So you can just as easily have your phone, just the presence of your phone nearby, unlocking these devices. That's entirely reasonable, and I think that's a reasonable approach.
That's interesting, yeah.
The other thing that bugs me about Android TV so far, Kadeus, and it's just, what's the right way to put this? It feels kind of so what? You know,
I will give you that.
For something where they said, we thought and we looked carefully and we, designed it for a perfect lean-back experience, it looks a hell of a lot like every single cable box, every single TV operating system, everything that's currently out there. They've done nothing to make it work any better than any of those, and all of those suck right now.
I'll give you that. But I think their goal is for content producers and software developers to do that. Google. So I think that's their angle, because they honestly don't have anything. They don't have anything for the living room to throw at you that you need besides YouTube.
Here's the thing. I agree with you there. I think this was, obviously part of the goal is to get it so that the app developers and the content providers can provide stuff. The problem is, they went back to an app focus instead of a content focus. Because think about it, when you sit down at your TV, the first thing that pops into your mind is, oh yeah, I want to start up Netflix. No. It's, oh yeah, I want to see what's on TV. And this doesn't quite do that.
And see, but that's the aspect of it. That's the aspect of it that they can't give us in this beta box form, because remember that aspect is television, which after every update they release, it's not available. I think
even if it was available, how would it be presented to us on this TV? It would be presented as an app. You would start the TV app and then select a channel.
See, the understanding that I had from watching the presentation was that when it's in a television and you turn on the TV, video, whatever was last was front and center, and you can always hit the home button and it brings up the interface that we see now. That was my understanding that I walked away from it, is that it's always video front and center, whether it's YouTube, Netflix, or live streaming TV.
That could be, but still it means to change channels, I need to go back to the home screen and select a different app. And that's backwards to me.
Oh, no, well, you're changing content providers at that point.
Well, that's the thing. I should never have to think about changing content providers. If I want to watch Doctor Who, it shouldn't matter to me where Doctor Who comes from.
And that's where the search option comes in. Because when you search,
and that's the problem. People don't search for shows.
Okay.
We think they want to search for shows, but that's because the interfaces we have now suck. What they want to do is they want to change to the Doctor Who channel, or they want to change to the football channel, or they want to change to their soap opera.
They don't search for shows on Android TV or in general, because I don't agree with that. If it's
they don't
latter.
Search in general.
I do. I mean, if I go to Amazon Prime and I want to see Under the Dome. Or I'll go to Xfinity and I want to see
Under the Dome, or you want to change to NBC, where Under the Dome is broadcast.
So
I want to find the show, because I don't care about some reality bullshit shows. I want Under the Dome.
No, so you don't look for the reality bullshit shows.
I go to the reality bullshit channel.
That's an example of them changing content providers. If he's looking at ABC and he wants to watch NBC, he's just changed content providers. But you're saying it should be invisible, is what you're trying to say, right?
I'm saying people don't really care about networks.
Right.
They never really did. They care about shows.
The show. And you think that searching for the show via voice is too much, is what you're saying?
Yes, because the other thing that people do, and they still do it today, even with 1 billion channels, is they channel surf. They don't go looking for a show.
I think they do that rarely now, and I think they do search for shows. I think people they want Orange is the New Black, and they might do a Google search or what have you, seeing if it's on Hulu or whatever, and then they realize where it is.
But here's the thing, Dan. What if, okay, you turned on your TV, you went to the home screen, and it gave you a line that said, Orange is the New Black, new episodes, and a line that said, House of Cards, new episodes, and a line that said, Doctor Who, new episodes, and a line that said, you've been watching Adam 12. Continue watching. And a line that said, your favorite sci-fi movies.
Well, that's kind of what we have now.
No, it's not what we have now.
Yeah,
what
when I go to
now
Netflix or
is
Amazon, it says
YouTube,
you've watched
Amazon,
Mr. Selfridge.
Netflix.
I mean, on my thing, because I don't have one of these stupid set-top boxes because my TV is hooked into a computer, so I don't need any of this crap. But on mine, when I go to Amazon, the website, Amazon Prime Instant Video, or if I go to Netflix, it says, this is the last thing you watched. You want to continue with West Wing or with House of Cards or what have you.
Alan is saying that that's horrible. He's saying that that's a horrible interface, and basically we're going from channel surfing to doing it the way Google does everything else. And he's saying that he does.
Amazon Prime has a shitty discovery engine. Netflix is worse, but it's superior to Amazon Prime.
Right, and Android TV just brought those to this system, and they gave you voice in addition to it.
So why settle for why settle for the shitty incumbents when you can have the new shitty, shiny new shitty thing?
With voice, yes, that's my point.
Yeah. Okay, so we've made sideways progress, if that's a term. I'm trademarking that, Apple. Don't even try. Try me. Kevin, any thoughts on this? Welcome, Kevin. He's trying to speak. You're muted, Kevin, or you're not muted. Your mic's off. There's actually a technical difference between those two things.
Probably if you have your headphones plugged in, some phones struggle with that in Hangouts.
I think Cadeas is secretly muting you because you don't agree with him on the 360.
Anyway, while Kevin tries to figure out his audio, we've got one last subject, which we'll be talking about this Friday on Google Plus Week. And it's actually related to our previous one, and that's that in a future version of Chrome OS, the file preview system will be able to stream videos available in file preview to the Chromecast or to Google Cast, whatever they decide to call it next week. So it's an interesting addition, currently available. I believe it's in Chrome OS developer channel.
Maybe that's what I got another update for. I just got another Google update, so that's probably what it was then. Wow, Alan, I'm kind of sad about this. You made me realize that aspect that I hadn't fully thought through yet on Android TV. Hadn't thought that far ahead in it.
That's my concern, is I think they've got a noble effort here. I think their effort to say, let's create something that everybody can put into their TVs. That's a noble effort. I don't think they thought very far ahead of, And really, if they don't get this right, they're going to screw themselves over. Again.
And so let me ask you this, because this has been a big pet peeve of mine. Minus the little blade and everything else, you remember Google TV. Do you think that Google TVs, some of their app interfaces, the Google one, so like YouTube and some of the others, do you think that interface is better than this new lean back stuff that they're coming up with? Because I'm kind of disappointed. I expected more out of the lean back, and then once I sat in front of it, I didn't really like leaning back so much. So,
to be honest, I don't see a major difference from what was in Google TV and this one.
I don't know. YouTube functions archaic, I would say, in comparison to what used to function on Google TV.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I find the current one marginally adequate, bordering on kludgy in some cases. Mm-hmm. In some cases, it's clever. I mean, playing with Netflix, jumping ahead 10 seconds and rewinding 10 seconds works moderately well if you remember how to do it, because it's not obvious. I mean, you need to use the left joystick controller, not the right one?
Why don't you just pull out your phone and just use your phone? I wouldn't pick up that controller unless I was trying to play a game. Like, why am I using I might as well go turn the Xbox on.
I'm not even sure that function worked on that controller, to be honest. On the phone controller.
It seemed to work fine for me. I need to use it a little more than what I've been using it. So.
Maybe I'll agree with you. The game controller is clever. My biggest concern about all of these, though, is that some TV manufacturer or some set-top box manufacturer, whoever, is actually going to think that these are good designs, and they're not.
Have you used any games at all?
No, I couldn't find any games that actually worked.
Oh, Leo's Fortune. That's the only one I've touched from the.
I saw several people on the high scoreboards, which was interesting, but nothing. Anyway, Kevin, do we have you yet?
Hey, testing. Can you actually?
Yeah, we got you. Good. So you got a couple of minutes before we wrap up this show.
Okay. Yeah, a couple of things. I've been testing out that phone I showed on Friday, the Sony the Xperia.
How many inches is it again?
It's a 6.4-inch screen.
Oh my God.
It's a phone. It's a phone.
It's also a television set.
And that's the story I'm sticking with. I've been finding a couple pluses and minuses about this thing. One, I love it for watching video, and also I can write and doodle on it, which is something I've been looking for on kind of a big phone. Some minuses I've been finding are that it doesn't have a flash on it, so I can't use my favorite flashlight widget with it. And also it's harder to take pictures with it in lower light. But I'm also finding that it has a couple of different problems with updating to the latest apps. I was talking in the comments about Hangouts 2.3. It won't come through. I also cannot get the Amazon app, the regular Amazon, even though I literally bought this thing on Amazon. But I cannot install the latest Amazon
It's
app.
probably not the best device for one-handed texting while driving, I'm guessing,
No.
Illegal
no,
texting.
No, it is not.
Don't tell Pam I even brought that subject up.
So, yeah, I've had to sideload a couple of things, but that's okay. I actually still like this phone quite a bit, but I was really shocked by the responsiveness of Qi on the Hangouts issue, because apparently this is a real thing. I had first mentioned it in passing on Friday, and so I started posting about it on the product forums for Google. And I actually got some response from a top contributor that it was an actual issue that they've been starting to see for devices that have 4.4.4, and they said they were looking into it and adding it to the bug report. And then I posted about it again in one of the Google Plus communities on Google Plus, and I actually tagged Chi-Chu on it, and he actually responded. I was really shocked at that. But
you
I was
shouldn't
really,
be. He's very
responsive.
Also, it's all hands on deck right now. They got this new thing. It's a major thing. They don't want to screw it up, and they want feedback. And there are some known issues. I'm having an issue. I think I told you that I asked you to communicate with Alan and or Cadeas to get in here, because I cannot load. I'm sitting here. Here's my screen for the viewers here. It says signing in. Oh shit! It's put my Gmail address. Just kidding. Don't look at that. But it won't let me into Hangouts. But on one computer it works. After about 5 minutes it pops up, and then here I might have, if I open up in a couple tabs, one of the tabs will have. So, but yeah, they're very, very eager to get this right. And Chi is generally responsive. He's not like a super celebrity guy who gets bombarded with 1 billion notifications a day, so you can kind of get through, right? Even though he's the vice president of Google, and big deal. But yeah, he's very good, and we hope to have him on Google Plus Week, our other show, this coming Friday.
Yeah, and I was also glad to hear that response about the Google Play editions, because that was a really big concern for me. That was a really big red flag, because that's why I got the device, so I can get the latest from Google. If I can't get the latest, that's a problem. Just a final note, Moto 360, that crescent at the bottom, that does bug me. I'll hold back on judgment, Cadeas, on it. I know you're saying I got to see it in person. Right now it's bugging me, but I'll pull back a little bit on that. Anyway, thanks.
Are you saying, Cadeas?
Let me before you go.
Now, I just want to see if we're gonna have a throwdown here.
I just want you to see this right here. You see how small that is? That is so little and insignificant. It's not as big as they made it sound.
Okay,
Yes,
Kevin, look, we got to throw down here. Is Cadeas a Crescent apologist? Is that what you're saying?
I think
Call me
he
whatever.
is.
I'm gonna tell you the fact. So
Is he a Crescent truther?
I just it bothers me. It just bothers me because I think it's missing that lack of. I think it's missing some polish that Apple. I gotta say, Apple would not let that go. They would hold back the
Apple,
whole
look,
product.
let's not kid ourselves. The build quality of that Apple Watch kicks any of the Android watches' asses. I mean, I'm not gonna lie.
that's not true. That's not true,
Oh
Dan.
my
But the one
God!
thing that I
Especially the
want to
18
point
karat
out
gold,
is that
the,
this
the
display-
wristband. It looks like the 360 looks like a nice, but for the Android component, if it just was a watch, it would be a nice, $10, $12 Walmart watch.
Last thing I'll say about this. The design was designed, the UI was designed for square, so that's why the bottom of the screen is not even affected. When the notification comes up, it doesn't show, right, Alan? Like it's not like you're cut off on
What's
anything.
the band made
Oh,
of?
Cadeas,
Is it plastic or is that a
really
leather
makes your
band?
case worse because you're essentially saying that there's no good reason for a round watch.
And I have no problem saying that. The round watch is strictly for wearing it in a look and a design. That's what the round watch is for. It's
Cadeas,
so you
what is
don't
the
have-
band made of? Is it plastic? Is it pleather? Is it leather? What is it?
This one's leather, the one that they're
Is it
selling right
real
now.
leather or is it faux leather? Leatherette.
I wouldn't know anything about that. But what I'm gonna do is I picked up a Pebble, what do you call these things? Watch bands, whatever these things are called. And I gotta get some links taken out of it, but I'm gonna put that on this watch and see how it feels, if it feels any differently. So, and this is the one that goes for the Pebble watch, the Pebble Steel. So
And the-
that's
and
what
the-
I'm gonna do this week sometime when I find a second to do it.
In Encyclopedia Britannica, under the entry for disposable income is an 8x10 photo of Cadeas Kalut from Newport Beach, California, with his.
It is
Pebble
apparently
wristband.
leather, Dan.
It is leather.
Reading mine, it says Horween Leather, which is apparently a leather manufacturing company in Chicago, Illinois.
It's real animal leather. I don't want to get the
You
PETA
go
people
look up
pissed off
Horween
at
Leather
me.
Company.
Because I went into I swear to God, Alan, you're gonna laugh at this. I went into the smoothie place, Tropical Smoothie, and they said all of our smoothies are made with turbinado, or something like that, right? And I thought, well, it sounds like a turbine and tornado mixed together. It must be some badass blender. So I went on Amazon trying to buy a turbinado blender, right, to make smoothies. Turns out it's the name for the brown sugar, the natural brown sugar stuff. I thought it sounded like some appliance, like some electrical appliance.
The Horween Leather Company is one of the oldest continuously running tanneries in the United States. Founded in 1905. They were, let's see, where'd it go here?
Is leather in single quotes, or is it like?
Known for their production of shell cordovan, professional football leather, and chrome excel, a type of long-lasting cowhide, among other leathers. It is the exclusive supplier of leather to the National Football League footballs, and also supplies the leather that is used for the NBA.
And it makes the shitty watch band on the Moto 360 or 340. I'm not sure
I don't
which
know
is
why
going to be their
that's,
claim
why
to fame.
that's relevant with a smartwatch.
It's a decent watch band, Dan.
I'm just trolling Cadeas at this point.
Just remember, watches are fashion. If you cut off that crescent at the end, that's not fashion anymore.
Remember that square watches, it's not fashion either, unless it's a girl watch like the Apple one.
Neither should be made. Just hold them all back.
It should. A
gotta hold-
point should
I
be
was
made.
totally happy with glass.
No, I think you should make. I think it's a fair point to note they didn't call it a girl and a man version, right? They said a large and a small. I think obviously that was a marketing gimmick, but like in my case, I have thin, small wrists, right? So
And have you
I wouldn't
done
want
one-
some big ass, Arnold Schwarzenegger watch on my wrist. But I don't
Right,
want
so
a
the
girl. I
most-
don't want to wear a girl watch, right? So, but a small watch, the guys in the Gold's Gym won't make fun of me too much for, right? There's so much more they can make fun of me for in Gold's Gym other than my watch. Why give them more ammunition?
But we won't because we're running long.
Are you serious? We had like 5 topics. It was a throwaway show.
Yeah, we spent 30 of them on Android TV when you were snoozing and reading something about a tiger.
Why did you bring that up?
Oh my God, that was hilarious. I posted it.
Wrap it, Dan.
How much you want to bet that like I could spend like 4 hours writing some major, essay on some political or news topic, and it would get less traction than that stupid share of a stuffed tiger, and the woman's afraid to approach it, and the cops come, and all, helicopters land and shit. Any thoughts, Kevin, before we conclude our program?
Only that I'm going to be continuing to test out how working with a big phone like this works out for me. So far, I'm really liking it. It's also the conversation that Cadeus and Alan were having tonight about how Android TV as opposed to Chromecast should work with a TV made me think about what works well, and also how having a dumb TV as opposed to a smart TV might work out better for the future of TV and video watching. Other than that, that's about it for me.
I think the way to go is to, instead of playing with this additional ecosystem, which we're doing with these Android TV and Apple TV and Google TV and all this shit, is just, run a wire from a computer to a television set. That's what I do. And then I don't have to rely. I can just drag a window over if I want to look at a Word document or watch a Netflix movie on my Vizio television set. I can do it. But then there is this problem of wives, and wives will not allow you to have wires running in the living room, but you can have a subtle box hidden behind the TV. So
you brought up a really important point about channel surfing. Most times people don't do it on these new devices because it's kind of painful and you don't get the content you want and everything like that. So we really need to rethink that in a really big way. Cross-platform too. Maybe work with notifications. Anyway, that's it.
Okay. So now I've offended wives. I think we're trying to offend. I'm trying to offend a different group each show. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Any final thoughts, guys? Oh, coming up Friday, right?
Already did it.
Just kidding.
Wrap it, Dano.
Hawaii 5-0 reference there. You know why it's called 5-0? It was the 50th state. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. We appreciate it. Also, check out my Huffington Post story. If you haven't seen it yet, it's on the front page of the Huffington Post DC page, which means I'll get 7 or 8 additional clicks. But it's pretty cool on this Naughty Girl Donuts insane story. It was awesome. It's a great video with interviews with different folks on the scene. Check it out on Huffington Post. If you can't find that, just Google Dan McDermott Donuts drama or whatever, you'll find it. All right, so thanks so much. We have 2 programs. One is called Google Plus Week, which is every Friday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 Pacific. Google Plus Week, 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, Friday. And then this program is every Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern, Monday 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, although we were late tonight because I'm having massive issues. And it's Cadeas' fault, basically. But anyway, we appreciate you watching. Thank you so much. And until next time, have an epic, awesome, wonderful, most asbestos Android week. Thanks.